The next piece of work I started working on for this week was loading scenes and saving data in regards to the inventory system. So I'm creating a new script after having the normal inventory one of how to use the inventory, which I in it created separate methods for each custom that they can use that they can be run at in an update, and booleans in that um, in the inventory script to transfer over to the user inventory script. So if they have the inventory, then they can use, and then the methods can run in the user inventory script. So I sort of got that working in regards to like a pre-scene, which we'll have for the tutorial, and then I went and worked into how to save the data between scenes, as that will be needed to keep the inventory rather than reloading it every time, which would be a bit more of a load work and just have sort of too much data for the game. So I found that don't destroy and load worked for if you didn't destroy the player, because the script's attached to the player, so that's just loaded into Isiko, but everything else can be destroyed and is reloaded. So it's just that all I needed was to do the player object, and it kept the data of the inventory system, which I tested in the console using debug logs. So that was all fine. And then I worked on creating a prefab for each custom so that they can be loaded in rather than so they can actually be loaded in when using Sentry, because the inventory system destroys the object and then has to be reloaded in when used. Otherwise, there's just too much game objects sort of off the screen. So just loading the prefabs in, make sure there's not too much going on in the scene in terms of like game objects, and doesn't need to be more than required in the scene. So I have that working. The prefabs loaded in, but just now all I need to work on is getting the prefabs load into the scene properly and run with the methods. So for example, the throw force added to it, and I haven't got quite it working yet, as it just destroys the object straight away, but that will be what I work on more next week. So then the Friday for the end of the week, after the Thursday, I worked on the ladder pull-up, as Sil on the Thursday night and Friday morning got to me the pull-up for the ladders. So currently in the scene, the ladders only go up to the platform level, but the player will climb up further than that. So it looks like they're sort of climbing on mid-air, which obviously isn't good for gameplay. So I got Sil to do a ladder pull-up test, or an animation even, which it looks fine. It works, but it works partially. So I did a lot of testing in terms of having triggers and colliders at the top of each ladder, where when the player hit it, it would then just transform the player object to a new point up above, which made it look a bit sort of disjointed in that it climbed the animation and suddenly popped up to the top of the screen. So I tried giving it a bit of a delay. I then tried using a lerp, so the player moved towards the point instead of just transferring to it immediately. But because the cloud is in the way of the floor for the platforms, there was some difficulty in that. And so I tried not having the floor there and only putting in the floor when the player reached the point, but then it didn't. The lerping still wasn't giving it that sort of smooth transition that I want. So there still needs to be more testing next week in terms of getting that looking good, because I can get it to work like it has worked before, just translating it upwards, and then I tried on the loop, running back down and going back up again. So that works fine, there's no glitches in it, but it still doesn't look completely right. So it might be a case of changing the animation over slightly, or finding a better way to do it without too many colliders, because that might be what's affecting the smooth gameplay that we want for it.